It's Energumen opening up a clear advantage in the closing stages. A breath of fresh air over fences is going to stay at the helm of the 2 mile novices. Energumen.
Boyle Sports has it all. Money back meetings every day. UK and Irish racing live streaming. Extra places and money back all losers offers. And a bet 10 get 40 welcome offer. Boyle Sports, this is bet.
So, hello and welcome back to episode number 17 of the Road to Cheltenham Challenge with myself and the Golden Groom. Just a very short episode, Mr. Groom. We're playing a little bit of catch up. We do, of course, have a couple more shows to get on with. Of course, Tuesday after today's show, we'll be having a little special episode and a Q&A next Sunday before the final episode on the eve of the Cheltenham Festival. We'll be publishing it on Monday afternoon and, of course, announcing the winner of the, of course, the hamper to the value of €500 on the healthiest looking portfolio. Mr. Groom, Judgment Day is looming.
Yeah, and last chance to get your portfolio sorted now. Get those handicap options in, which could really beef up your overall book. And yeah, I'm very much. I've got 5 more left, and I really need to make them count, I feel, given what's gone before. Absolutely.
We're going to be asking you, the viewer, to price up who has the better portfolio. We'll be running through both of our portfolios on this episode and putting in our selection for episode number 17. So a very short episode, just a 10-minute video, but you'll be back on Tuesday, Mr. Groom, with something slightly different, where we'll both be putting up our banker treble of the Cheltenham Festival and an each way lucky 15 or lucky 31 if you want to throw in an extra one, Mr. Groom.
Boyle Sports has it all. Money back meetings every day. UK and Irish racing live streaming. Extra places and money back all losers offers. And a bet 10 get 40 welcome offer. Boyle Sports, this is betting.
I went for Elixir de Nuts in the Grand Annual. Now, I was slightly concerned this horse might go for the plate, Paddy Power plate. He had the option of doing that. Still does have the option. It sounds like, for me, the quotes I've been reading from Mr. Joe Tizard is that they're favouring this race. I backed him for this race last season, and the ground went against him. I had backed him, whatever, the night before, the weekend before or something, and it got heavy and he just didn't run any sort of race at all. You know, and I think this season he's an improved horse, but he's going to be more or less handicapped as he was going into the race last season. Like, he beat Galahad Quest at Wincanton over 2.5 miles. That's where the kind of Paddy Power plate chat, or the plate chat, came in, the 2.5 at Cheltenham. But he's since gone back to Newbury and finished second to Fun and Bull's Civila, who you like to rave about holding up as a grade 1 horse for your Energumen propaganda. Ran really well there behind him. And finished ahead of Grenadine. Now, I'm not taking that form literally. Sometimes, you know, Grenadine clearly underperformed there. But it just goes to show you that he's in great heart. Elixir de Nuts, that's definitely, you could make a case that was a career best. So he's coming off a career best, off the same mark. Basically getting a second go on, you know, what's likely, you know, you never say never with the ground, could go heavy again, but the chances of it going heavy again on the Wednesday seem unlikely. So he's going to get a chance here on decent ground at Cheltenham. You know, he has decent form at Cheltenham before, so that like, he won over hurdles at the course a couple of times. And I think he'll go here on good to soft ground. Would be absolutely ideal for him. It'd be obviously a more staying kind of trip coming up the hill in Newbury, and you really stayed on well, or at Cheltenham, I mean, and you really stayed on well behind Finnemil Silva at Newbury. So I thought 20 to 1 was a fair price now, and a good enhancement from Boyle Sports to get up there. So that's what I've gone for.
Yeah, we're going to have it's going to be the Joe Tizard bonanza on this episode, Mr. Groom, because I'm throwing this one into the mix. It's Oscar Elite. We did our handicap show, of course, last week. If you haven't watched it, go back and take a look. Gavin Cromwell, our special guest on the show. But yeah, I did give this horse a very positive mention, and I've really talked myself into backing this horse. Boyle Sports have enhanced it out to 12 to 1. And I just think that's I thought that's a decent enhancement. Now, Oscar Elite, I can see this horse going off, you know, single figures on the day. Last season, Obviously, we were shouting Corach Rambler up the hill. Oscar Elite jumped the last, looking like he was going to go and win the race. He was 4 pounds out of the handicap, ran an absolute cracker last season. So I suppose he was running off 138 when he was out of the handicap. So he's a pound higher this year. So he's only 139. And I think he's probably arguably had a better prep for it. I think Ruby Walsh was on the Road to Cheltenham show, you know, maybe suspecting that Oscar Elite might be a better horse fresh. But if you're going to call that Grade 2 a race, the Reynoldstown, I mean, that wasn't a race, was it? You know, it was a 3-runner race. He's picked up the pieces. It's a real confidence booster. And Tizard has said, he's on record and saying at the handicap weights that this horse, he seems to really come alive in the spring. We had Joe Tizard on the show at the start of the year. He thought off 139 is a really competitive mark for this horse. And I'd say they've targeted this for, you know, this is his big spring target. You look at Corach Rambler, for example, you know, he's going to the National. He's 6 pounds higher. I think, you know, last year's runners are probably going to be very competitive once again in this. But Oscar Elite, you know, is he 5 pounds better off this season than Corach Rambler? I think he ticks lots of boxes. He'd be able to hold his position, you know. So he's a big galloping sort. He jumps very, very well. He's plenty of tactical speed, and I think he'll stay well.
Download the BOYLESPORTS app and receive generous offers for new and existing customers. BOYLESPORTS, this is betting.
Yes, going to flash our portfolios up on screen just before we do so. Thank you to everyone who's been getting involved, I suppose, in this series. It's been fantastic, the support we're after been getting. So do smash a like on the video and subscribe as well. If you want your name in the draw, if you want to be judged on Judgment Day, make sure you're subscribed to the channel as well. And just hit the subscribe button down below. Right, our selections, Mr. Groome, from the episode to date. And we want him to price it up down below. I make it 4-9 Barry Doyle, and I might give 15 to 8 Mr. Groome, taking a little bit of margin for myself there. Let us know down below, what way would you price it, Mr. Groome? Look at yours first and foremost. And the first one you put in was Gentleman to Me. There was a couple of weeks on this episode that I think we thought this one was in the bin, but very much alive, and I would see him as a lively danger now to the top of the market, certainly on spring ground.
Yeah, 50 to 1 at one stage before he went and won at Dublin Racing Festival, probably much bigger on the exchange. But as you say yourself, he's definitely a contender after what he did at Leopardstown. He really bounced on the good ground there and got into a lovely rhythm in front. And if you prescribe that he could be the spring horse, that's important to him. Whatever way it is, probably ground has a lot to do with it, but he really does jump well, and maybe it is something to do with the time of year. And if that is the case, he's got, you know, he's probably got the best form in the book, having beat Edwardstone at Aintree last year. So I give him a big chance, yeah, for sure. I think he's a bit of value now at his current price of 9 to 1 or thereabouts, I think. So definitely give him a chance. My second selection, Beauport, obviously, he actually has a chance for a handicap, but I put him up for the Brown Advisory, just things didn't work out for him this year. Echoes and Rain will be one of my kind of half decent ones. I think it's spelled wrong there by you, Basil. You call it Echoes and Rain. It's Echoes in Rain, of course. She goes for the Mayor's Hurdle. I hope she goes anyway. I think there was a brief chat about it, or maybe going for the Champion Hurdle on a few preview nights and that. I think she ought to go for the Mayor's Hurdle to have a better chance of winning that. But I can see the argument to go for Champion Hurdle, as in she's more of a 2-miler probably, and settles better over that distance. But when it goes to winning chances, I think the Mayor's Hurdle is her only destination really. Three Stripe Life, unfortunately, obviously, sadly, had a fatal injury at Leopardstown over Christmas, so that's a no. Astro Diamond, again, a half-decent one for the Mayor's Novice Hurdle. I'd still give her a big chance against Lucia. I think her overall form is stronger. Granted, Lucia is pretty, I know you have her on side, and she's been pretty impressive, but Astro Diamond's form is stronger. For all that she only scrambled home the last day of Fairyhouse, but she still won the Solarina, which is often a really good guide to a good mare. Arctic Brezel, unfortunately, another dud there. I don't know what happened to him in the Tallworth, and haven't heard much about him since. So That was in the bin. Absolute Tard was put up just before Leopardstown for the. He was due to run in the Savills Chase and then got a little knock. As it happens, he's still around the 9-1 mark or thereabouts for the Gold Cup, and still has a reasonable kind of, he's a 9-1 chance. He hasn't really moved in either direction. That's obviously he's got to break all sorts of trends.
Classical Dream then has a chance of making it by the looks of the exchanges anyway.
Yeah, but it talks about, because I actually haven't checked his exchange price in a while, but he's back into a decent look like a price that would suggest that he's in decent form, because he had drifted out quite a lot. And I like him a lot. If he was 9-1 on the day, he'd be the only horse I'd be touching in the race. But I went for 3-card Bragg in the Albert Bartlett. Now he is big talking horse for soft ground, so I don't know. Maybe he's even. I'm not sure. Is he a likely runner, even in the circumstance of quick ground? So I have to watch that. But I think he's potentially a very good horse. Novice, good stayer. Champ.ie starting to get a bit written off for the Ballymore, I think. But I definitely think he's a player there. I want to be against Hermes Allen all day long in the Ballymore, and I think he has the tactical speed, Champ.ie, to be a big player there. Banbridge is probably my best looking bet on the card. General 5-1, kind of shorter in other places now. I want to take on Mighty Potterby against him as well, big time, and Banbridge looks the most obvious one. Arguably has the best form in the race. Well, that best piece of form in the race, staying strongly in the Irish Arkle, which everyone's raving about, is red hot form. So I'll give him a chance. Gala Marceau, still a big believer in this filly. I still think she's underrated for the Triumph. All the chatter for lost him out after Dublin Race Festival. I think she didn't get much of a look in there at all, even though she won the race and then pulled hard early. I just think she's a big price. French Dynamite, he's roughly the same price. I think he's 14-1 with BOYLESPORTS. This is pre-Shishkin stuff, just before Shishkin came out and did what he did. So yeah, that kind of changed the picture obviously for the Ryanair. But I think he has a good chance of running well. When obviously you need Shishkin to underperform there for any sort of win chance. But Churchstone Warrior then for the National Hunt Chase is 8-1 shot. I think he's a big player. He's getting a nice positive mention on a lot of preview nights now. I think he stays really well, and the distance can bring him into the race and get him closer to Gala O'Neill at least. And then finally it brings us up to last week. My latest selection was Camprond, first handicap selection for the Coral Cup. I think he's weighted lovely and kind of caught the eye at Muzzleburgh the last day. If he's back to anything like the form he was going into the race last season, I think he'll go very close indeed. The ground just went for him in the Coral Cup last season. He still finished fourth. He needs a decent surface. So 12-1 I thought was okay price by him. Hello.
Yeah, just taking a look at Dysart Dynamo, 12-1 in the betting. Probably going to go off in around the 4-1, 9-2 mark on the day. Happy with that. Look at the price. You could get an easy lead. New course, old course, I should say, tighter track, likely to suit. And I could see him stripping that little bit fitter. I think it would. The Arkle is probably tailor made for him. I think you mentioned the El Fabiola likely to. It's probably likely more than unlikely to throw in a few clangers. Obviously, a massive engine, but I think Dysart Dynamo could be more of an Arkle type. So 12-1. I think I've got the value there. Happy with that. Scarlet and Dove, Mayor's Chase. Obviously, she made a setback. Very disappointing because I would have given her a live each way chance anyway at that price. 10-1. Statler 20-1 for the Gold Cup. He's obviously much shorter than that. 8-1 currently, and I'd make him a massive player in the Gold Cup, as I've mentioned. So sticking with that, I think that's probably one of my better bets. That's 20-1. Lucia 6-1 now, 6-4 for the Mayor's novice. Delighted with that. Chemical Energy, well, he drifted out a little bit, bigger than that on the exchanges. 9-1. That looked a great bet for a long time, obviously before his return at Naas. And I think a lot of people maybe were writing him off after that run. Gordon said he needs to run. Quicker ground will suit him. And I'd make him a very live player. And I think Jamie Conn was pretty positive on him as well when asked about Chemical Energy. Been around the course, and I think I like his profile for it. So 9-1. Happy with that, certainly. Lossy Mount for the triumph, 7-2. I did think they might flip-flop. I still think Townend will ride Lossy Mount. And, 7-2, obviously. Now she's, what is she? 7-4 joint favourite at the top of the market. So that's a good one. Blue Lord, obviously, before Shishkin did what he did, this looked even better. 18-1 for the Ryanair. Looks like the route he's going to go. Parmenion, 33-1, obviously came out and won today as we're recording. Still has an entry in the Ballymore, probably unlikely to go to Cheltenham. We got him in there, 33s for the Supreme. We've all been caught then. 28-1 for the Albert Barta. Still goes that route. Lovemva, Emir's hurdle, 11-2. And she's drifting. You know, the rain, how much rain is going to fall? Probably a negative against her, and the quality of the race since I've put her up has obviously with Honeysuckle going to the race now. I like her. I think she's improving, but 11-2 probably skimpy there now at this stage. Ashtail Bob, 14-1, could be an outsider for the race, similar to Protector at a 10-1. An outsider for the race, not as confident as when I put up both of those selections. Went double-handed in the Gold Cup. Pat Doro, 18-1 for the County Hurdle. I'd probably make Pat Doro my biggest fancy in a handicap. I think he's laid out for this race, and at 18-1, I'm quite happy on that. I think he's 12-1, 10-1 in places. I just like his profile for it. Goodlands, this is a real good animal. He's 5-1. I'd have him close to favourite personally. Imperia Pa, obviously, probably the horse in the race with the most potential. I think Goodland ticks probably the most boxes for the Ballymore. 5-1, that's rock solid. Biker, I could see this horse going off close to favourite. He's 10-1. I put him in at 10s. He's much shorter now. Tyne White, love this horse at 25-1. He's 16-1 now with BOYLESPORTS, so has come for a bit of support. Tyne White, I think for the Grand Annual, he's Nichols' only runner. Good ground. Going left-handed, going there fresh. I think he's a big player in that. Yeah, Ronan Groome, that's it. That's the episode done with. I will be back on, of course, Tuesday to put up our banker treble of the Cheltenham Festival, and we're going to put up an each way Lucky 15. We want the viewers to get involved as well, so we want your banker treble and your Lucky 15 on Tuesday's show, and we also want you to send us in, everyone that watches the show, send us in a question, because we're dedicating Sunday's episode to a Cheltenham Festival Q&A. So any question related to in relation to Cheltenham whatsoever, get your questions in, because we want a list of questions. It's not the big question, it's everybody's question. So just get the question in, and we'll dedicate the entire episode on Sunday to questions. And then we're announcing the winner of the hamper, Mr. Groome, on the Monday, the eve of the Cheltenham Festival, to the value of 500 euros. That's it, Mr. Groome. That has been episode number 17. We'll see you on Tuesday night, but it's been a pleasure. And as well, price up. Who has a better portfolio down below? We want to know. And if the price is good enough, Mr. Groome, we might act.
Yes.
Inside the final 150 yards, this is a special year, and it's a Hattons full of grace. And it's Energumen opening up a clear advantage in the closing stages. A breath of fresh air over fences is going to stay at the helm of the 2 mile novices. Energumen.
Download the BoyleSports app and receive generous offers for new and existing customers. BoyleSports, this is betting.